While you folks are all getting settled in, I want to wish you a happy morning. It's Sunday morning. It's a little soggy, but thank you for being here. A little wet today, right? I see some of you are here against your will, but it's good to see you anyway. All right, I am here today with Zena Taylor. Zena, thank you very much for being our worship associate this morning. Zena does a lot here at this church, mostly with the children and RE committee, which is, I think, very fulfilling work. Do you like your work on the RE committee? Sometimes. Sometimes. A little too much honesty there, Zena. Very good. Okay, a couple more quick announcements. One, we're starting our food drive for the Houston Food Bank. As you are aware, food is being cut because that's what we do here in America when we need money, is we take food from people. So if you have the means and the ability, we would ask you to bring perishable food, preferably protein-rich perishable food, non-perishable, what did I say? Perishable, yes, non-perishable. Yes, bring some Hamburg and put it in the box. So bring some non-perishable food, preferably protein-rich food, and put it in there. We are also happy in our boxes. We have our boxes right there at the front of the sanctuary. We are also happy to have with us here today. They're not here right now, but two members of the Democratic Socialists are here, the DSA, which is an organizing committee which is here to help us as we address the problems that face our nation. And we found out that they were doing some good work, and we thought it would be in the line of the purpose and the mission of this church to bring them in today. So they are here with us today, and they'll be joining us later. With regard to the purpose and mission of this church, one of the things that Emerson does is we select charities in our community that receive our Share the Plate donations each month. That selection process begins with you nominating the organizations and community projects you wish to have the church support. So what we're asking you to do is please let us know who you think is doing good work by filling out a Share the Plate nomination form that is available in the gathering place and online. And if you want to talk to someone about that, you can talk to Ann May and you can talk to Carol Trout, who are on the selection committee. They need this information by next Sunday. So if you are involved in an organization that you think fits the intent or the purpose of this church, please let them know so that they can include them in the selection process. And now, we realized this morning, so now a confession of guilt, we realized this morning that we forgot to plan Deck the Halls. It was supposed to be today, and we have the congregational meeting today. So we said, well, we'll do it next week, and we have the congregational meeting next week. So the Deck the Halls committee, meaning Carol Trout and I, will go figure out how we're going to get the halls decked in a way that doesn't step on anything else that we're doing here. So please keep your eye out for that. We may ask you to show up early if you're interested or stay late. I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. We kind of, we forgot. Between service today and the lunch bunch, we will have a brief coffee in the gathering place, but then we ask you to come back in if you're interested in the budget. So what we're doing is next week we will have the congregational meeting where we will do two things. We will approve the budget, hopefully, and we will elect leaders for next year. To make the congregational meeting run smoother, what we ask you to do is come either today, here, in service, after service, or Thursday online on Zoom and ask all your budget questions. What's this? What's that? Whatever questions you have, so that the congregational meeting doesn't go on and on and on and on and on. So we're asking you to do your discovery and your questioning this week so that we can come together next week and have a vote. So after services here today, Hillary, our president, will lead a discussion on the budget and on the nominations, if that's a question for any of you. We thank everyone who's agreed to serve. There are no contested elections. So the slate is pretty clean. So we would ask you to stay either today after services or come on Thursday on Zoom and you check the e-blast for that. But we're asking you to get your discovery out of the way prior to the congregational meeting so that we can have a congregational meeting go smoothly. And if the congregational meeting goes smoothly, maybe we can deck the halls after the congregational meeting. Aha, wink, wink, nod, nod. That's the plan, okay? I think that's all we had for announcements. You guys are very quiet today. Why don't we start by saying hi to each other? Why don't we give a minute and just take a minute and say hi. Look at somebody you did not drive here with, you do not live with, and say hi.
In Unitarian Universalist churches across the nation and across the world, we light a chalice at the start of worship and other gatherings. I'd like to invite Marilyn Rambo to light our chalice here in the sanctuary this morning. And as she does, I invite those of you joining us on YouTube from home or from somewhere else to light a candle or a chalice of your own. In the words of Reverend Sherry Woodbury, the light of the chalice represents the spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace. It represents the light of love alive in all creation. And when we kindle this flame here in the presence of this beloved community, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. When we light our chalice, we hear words of timeless wisdom to help us center for our time together. For the month of November, our chalice lighting words come from Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche was a German philosopher who lived in the second half of the 19th century. He was a professor of philology, the study of classical Latin and Greek text. He suffered from poor health, and as a result, his working years were cut short. But during that time, he wrote 29 books, including Thus Spoke Zoroaster, from which this quote is taken. Please join me in reading these words together as they appear on the screen. I would believe only in a God who could dance. One must still have chaos in oneself, be able to give birth to a dancing star. We welcome you here today. We welcome you who come here for the first, the 5th, or the 500th time. We welcome you who come with heavy hearts or with joyous spirits. We welcome you to be with us as we experience the mysteries of a fully human life together. Please join me in our welcoming words on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here.
You are welcome here. Such important words. My name is Reverend Ed, and I invite you into this place. I invite you into this place of peace, this place of community, this place of wisdom, and this place of wonder. I would like to offer you a chance to take a moment to center yourselves, to ground yourselves in your presence in this place with all those present, both here in the sanctuary and everybody who's joining us this morning on YouTube. Together, we are the Emerson community. We invite you to allow yourselves to breathe, to allow yourself to feel yourself sink into the seat under you, to the back of the wood behind you, and to hear your heartbeat, to hear the wind blow through your lungs, and to hear your mind here in this room. Connect in a real and valuable way. I invite you to do one of the hardest things you may be asked to do today. Just be. We will exit this moment of meditation or prayer or peace or whatever you want to call it. We will exit this moment together, and we call our voices to sing our first hymn. The words will be on your screen when the music starts. Feel free to stand or sit, but just help us sing our first hymn. And now we rest together in this moment. So this is the part of our service where we invite anybody who would like to hear a story to come and hear a story. And I see, is there anybody would like to come hear a story? Well, I'm just going to sit here, and I will tell the story to whoever comes. We got one child coming down. How did I know it was you, Stephen? Okay. This two children. Whoa. Okay, so this story is called The Lemonade Stand, and it ties into what we're talking about today. On Sunnyvale Street, where the summers was, and it's a poem, it's a giant poem. On Sunnyvale Street, where the summers were sweet, lived Milo, a boy with dusty feet. He dreamed of new toys and rockets and drums, so he built a small stand and waited for thumbs. He mixed up his lemons, he measured each cup, he smiled to the sweat till the sun gave up. Each drop he sold, each coin he saved was a tiny reward for all the hours he gave. And soon the stand was more than play. It gave his work a light each day. He brought bright toys that whirred and spun. The sound of effort turned to fun. The children clapped, they laughed and cheered, till envy whispered, "It's unfair, my dear. Why should one boy have all the joy alone? Aren't we all equal?" came the tone. Their words were soft, they meant no harm. They only wished for life's same charm. So they made a plan beneath the moon to share his toys and share them soon. Milo woke to find them gone. His work, his toys, his stand, all were gone. He told them, "Now we're all the same. It's only fair you had your fame." At first it seemed that all was good, each child with toys as they dreamed they should. Laughter boomed for just one day. Then cracks began where fairness lay. The toys broke down. No one repaired them. No one worked, for nothing was spared. The lemonade stand, once bright with cheer, stood empty, quiet, year by year. No child saved coins. No one tried. The spark that they built, their joy had died, for when all without the strain, the work will begin to wane. Soon Sunnyvale Street grew gray. Its color and joy drained away. The laughter gone, replaced by sighs, the dream of equal slowly dies. Milo wept beneath the stand, a broken cup in his hand. "It felt so right," he said softly, "to share what I had earned instead. But now my tools go to rust. My lemons are all spoiled, and the hands that built now stand uncoiled." Luna, his friend, turned and held his arm. "We wanted kind, we caused you harm. We thought that joy could multiply, but somehow made the whole street die." And from that street a silence spread of dreams once shared and cold, now dead. That's a rather gloomy story, isn't it? It's quite sad, yes. So here's the question. Can goodness survive without responsibility? Can being nice and compassionate alone hold a community together? Or does it take more than that? It's a question. You don't have to answer it. You can think about it. You can answer it if you want. I don't want to. That's okay. Huh? What are the needs of the community, right? But how are you going to meet your needs, right? You're not going to meet your needs just by sitting there, right? You can't meet by taking someone else's stuff, right? Because eventually you run out of stuff. So that's something for you to think about today as we talk about fairness and equality and all these sorts of things, which sound very, very nice on the upfront, but often are very confusing. But while y'all are sitting here, I want to explain what we're going to do next. We're going to do this next, okay? And you've seen us do it before, and I've announced it quickly before, but I want to explain why this is done in so many churches. If you go to any other Unitarian Universalist church, maybe not all of them, but an awful lot of them, they're going to do this or something like this every week. Sometimes they have a bowl of water, and you put a rock in the bowl of water, and when the rock hits the bottom, it goes like clunk, it makes a little noise. Sometimes they have they have these papers that you can move from side to side. There's a bunch of different ways I've seen it done. But this is basically a communion service. Some Christian churches do communion services with bread, right? Where they all have, everybody has a piece of the same bread. And sometimes that bread is very symbolic, like it has something to do with Jesus or some other religious importance. What we do, this communion that we do, is a sharing of light, because the symbol of Unitarian Universalism for a long time has been light, right? So what we ask people to do is, if they're carrying something around with them in their hearts that is weighing on them, that is painful to them, that, you know, if you just had a bad day or a bad week or something awful happened, you can come up here and you can light a candle, and that light will come into the room, and everyone else will see that light. And you may not want to go around and tell everybody about everything, but this is a way of allowing what's going on in your life to be shared with the rest of the room. And if you had a good week, or something really good happened, or you're very joyous about something, you can also come up and light a candle. So the wonderful part of this ritual, this wonderful part of this little ceremony that we do together, is you see all the candles at the end, but you don't know which ones are there because something is sad or something is, weighing on people, or because something is happy and something is cheerful about people. And that, in this bowl, with this beautiful fire, is who's sitting out there. Because everybody who's sitting out there is one of these fires, right? It's a sad fire, it's a happy fire, it's a tired fire, it's a cheerful fire. But everybody who came up, you don't all have to come up, it's not a rule that you come up. But if you're carrying something either joyous or bothersome, or, we call it joys and concerns, if it's something's concerning you, you bring it into the room and you share it with everybody, because you brought it into the room with you when you walked through those doors. This is just a way of bringing it to life and turning it to something that we can all see, and that we can all, as I ramble on later on, you can watch it burning, and you can feel the love and the pain and the lives of everybody in the room. And that's why we do this. So because you're closest, I'm going to ask Hanwi to play some music. I'm going to ask you guys, if you're interested, if you are carrying a joy or a concern, to go ahead and light a candle. And anybody else who'd like to share in this ritual together, feel free to come forward and shine your light into this room. friends, this is us. This is symbolically us. We bring ourselves, our whole selves, our true selves into this place every week. And with any luck, every week, we bring ourselves in a different person. And we share these joys, we share these concerns here in this gesture of collective community. And now what I'd like to do is I'd like to take one of these joys, one of these concerns, and light our Advent candle. Advent, we won't be talking about it much this year, but Advent is a season of preparation, a season of making yourself ready, a season of making your heart and your mind and your soul ready. In the Christian calendar, it is getting ready for Jesus. It is coming on Christmas morning, but there are other religious traditions that have similar preparation periods. We celebrate Easter, we celebrate Advent and Christmas here as we are historically a Christian church, and many of you still celebrate those two holidays, and we celebrate them here by lighting our Advent candle, and we light it this week with our joys and concerns, which were lit from our chalice. So the fire is one, we are one, and we are all here together. We are all in this together. Amen? Amen. And now I invite MC Swearingen to bring us this week in Unitarian Universalist history.
Consider the Reverend Dr. Frank Forrester Church, who ministered for about 30 years at a large UU church in New York City. He died in 2009. This very sanctuary can remind us of his words. Reverend Forrester Church has been described as having a nearly endless capacity for compassion and empathy. So look at these uppermost windows. Compassion and empathy require some sensitivity, and so let this soft green and soft gold and turquoise represent compassion and empathy. Besides teaching compassion, Reverend Forrest Church asked us to live a life worth dying for. Now imagine the windows that you cannot see behind me on the northeast and southeast. They are drenched in rich reds and brilliant blues, glowing golds, and browns that surprise us. And they remind us to stand up strongly for our living principles so that our lives are worth dying for. That's the Reverend Frank Forrester Church.
If you've never seen them, come up on actually maybe when we do the decking the halls. You can't see the stained glass in this church, and that's by design. Like what I've heard is they wanted there to be a secret or a surprise around every corner. So we really do have some quite pretty stained glass. This one over here in the ready room, there's a light on it that shines at night. The light turns itself on at night, magic. Turns itself on at night and shines light outside. So if you want to come up on the sacristy afterwards and take a look at our very pretty stainless glass, I'd love for you to do that. It is important that we acknowledge our history is a shared and sometimes harmful one. Our congregation's buildings are situated on the home of the Karankawa and Atakapa peoples, who for at least 2,000 years before European settlers arrived, lived here in peace. we acknowledge and support and uplift Indigenous voices in our communities as we work as a congregation. I will say, this week, I heard a different pronunciation of the word Karankawa. I heard Karankawa. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right anymore, so I'm all like sort of self-conscious about that. So I will figure that out. But it was on a YouTube video, so it must be true, right? That's my life. I'm watching videos that involve the word Karankawa or Karankawa. Each time we are gathered, we hear words from one of our 6 Unitarian Universalist sources. Today we hear the words of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was the president of these United States. These words come from his fireside chat, one of his fireside chats, which was a periodic radio program used to address the nation. This one took place on June 24th, 1938, the day before he signed the Fair Labor Standards Act. He says this. I'm going to try to do it in his voice, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Don't let any calamity-howling executive with an income of $1,000 a day who has been turning his employees over to the government relief rolls in order to preserve his company's undistributed reserves, using his stockholders' money to pay the postage for his personal opinions. Don't let that person tell you that a wage of $11 a week is going to have a disastrous effect on all American industry. And now I would like to ask Zena Taylor to bring our offering.
Emerson's purpose statement is our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as we build a better world. We remind you of it each week by stating it right on the front of the order of service. We live out our purpose in many different ways. We worship together. We learn together. We lobby together. And we spread our faith through our actions. We also give our time, talent, and treasure to partners in Houston and across the nation and the planet who we feel are living out our purpose in ways we only wish we could. We support those partners each week at this time in our service. 75% of today's offering will go to our November's Share the Plate recipient, Plant It Forward. Plant It Forward offers economically disadvantaged refugees an opportunity to become self-sufficient through growing, harvesting, and selling organic produce. The organization secures land, trains and mentors farmers, and facilitates sales to local markets. After a year of training in gardening, as well as in business practices, each farmer is loaned land for their own urban farm to sell under the Plant It Forward brand. Plant It Forward facilitates 22 locations. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go to our webpage for online giving, put cash or a check in our offering plates here at the front or in the box at the back, or mail a check to the church. words for our second reading today are the congressional findings paragraph of the Fair Labor Standards Act, a law that just barely passed in 1938 in the waning years of the Great Depression. The Congress finds that in industries engaged in commerce or in the production of goods for commerce, the existence of labor conditions detrimental to the maintenance of the minimum standard of living necessary for health, efficiency, and general well-being of the workers has 5 detrimental effects. It causes commerce and the channels and instrumentalities of commerce to be used to spread and perpetuate such labor conditions among the workers of the several states. It burdens commerce and the free flow of goods in commerce. It constitutes an unfair method of competition in commerce. It leads to labor disputes, burdening and obstructing commerce and the free flow of goods in commerce. And finally, it interferes with the orderly and fair marketing of goods in commerce.
There was a short period of time in my life where I thought about becoming a lawyer, and I was talking to a lawyer that worked with one of the companies that I work for, and I said, I think I want to be a corporate lawyer. And he said, no, don't be a corporate lawyer, because if you be a corporate lawyer, everything you do gets written down, and it's memorialized forever. Be a trial lawyer. That way, everything is negotiated. And I think of that whenever I read government documents from the 30s and 40s that seem to say very common sense things that we just seem to have forgotten. When you read that, the beginning of the Fair Labor Standards Act says, unfair labor standards are bad. They're bad. 5 different ways they're bad. Here are 5 different ways that unfair labor standards are bad. And all we've done in the past 80 years is dismantle it, because we somehow must want unfair labor standards, right? That must be what we need. That must be how we survive in this country. I don't leave evidence, right? And we left evidence that we knew back then in 1938. So why are we talking about this today? It's not September, it's not Labor Day, Reverend Ed. You should be talking about this on Labor Day. Well, on Labor Day, it didn't work out. What happened this week was we were in conversation with the DSA about doing some other things. We've done a training for immigration training over here with them, and they said, hey, we're working on these other things. The DSA is a 501c4 social welfare organization, and we invited them to come here today and tell us what they're working on, because what they're working on seemed to make sense to me. And in September, it would have been striking not when the iron was hot. The iron is hot today because the DSA is already making inroads into some areas where we would like to see change. I asked a year ago or so, I asked the Social Action Committee to come up with a focus. We need to focus on things because we're a small group of people. We can't fix hunger and war and inequality. We can't fix these things. So I said to the Social Action Committee, what can we fix? And they said, they went back, and it took them almost a year, and they went back and they said, democracy, migrant rights, and food insecurity. We can do something about that. Let's do something about that. So the focus was because The need for focus is because if we are all scattered all over the place, we don't have much of an impact at all. But if we collectivize ourselves and focus ourselves, now we can generate an impact. And then once we have our focus, let's look out into the community to see what organizations are already doing this work. They've already got a toehold in this work. And in doing that, we bumped into the DSA. The DSA asked if we can help with jornaleros. Jornaleros is a Spanish word for day laborers. Day laborers, why are day laborers important, and why do day laborers make sense here? Day laborers make sense because, and I hate this word, it's such a seminary word, because of the intersectionality, the intersectionality of democracy, migrant rights, and food insecurity, right? Food insecurity is not created because people don't know how to cook. It's created because people don't have money to buy food. And if people don't have money to buy food, in the case of the jornaleros, it's not because they're not working. It's oftentimes much more insidious than that. Now, I'd like to just start by saying I'm not a jornalero. I've never worked on a day basis. However, the congregation I served in West Palm Beach, Florida, worked very actively with an organization called Peace Palm Beach. And Peace was an organization that organized other churches and gave those churches focus. And now, instead of one church working on this, it was 14 churches working on this. And those 14 churches, with their 20,000 members, were able to get the sheriff's department to establish a hiring hall in Palm Beach. What did that mean? You come to this location and you get hired out of this location. We log who hired you and we make sure you get paid. Now, that was before COVID. And by before COVID, what I mean was that was before, much before the last election. So we're going to get into how that affected things. But what you got to understand what Peace was trying to do. Peace was trying to, and Peace Palm Beach and First UU Palm Beach were trying to alleviate some risks that jornaleros face, okay? Real simple risks. No insurance, period. No health insurance, no life insurance, no workers' compensation insurance. So who are you going to hire if you have a really dangerous job? Someone for whom you have workers' compensation insurance or someone for whom you don't need to do that? No HIPAA, no ERISA, no OSHA, no paid time off, no lunch breaks, nothing. Now, what happened over time, this was the way people were hired for decades. It is still the way people are hired in many parts of the world. It is the primary employment of millions and millions of people throughout the world. You hear these stories of people who leave to go from India to Saudi Arabia or Yemen to build buildings or whatever. Almost all of them are functioning as day laborers. What day laborers means is today you might get paid, tomorrow you might not. If there's work, there's work. If there's no work, there's no work. To quote the Fair Labor Standards Act, it's not good for business. It's not good for people. It's not good for families. It's not good for America. And a lot of businesses began to realize this. They still needed day-to-day contract labor, but they realized that poor labor conditions were not good for anybody. So they began to organize these things called day labor halls, like the one West Palm organized. places where strangers could meet up, their relationships could be documented for a day to make sure that everybody's on the up and up. Matching workers and potential employers. As these started to go and really get going, these you can see are the beginning of journeyman labor unions, right? It's why they call them journeymen, because they go out to the job. They provide benefits. They provide all of these things that they weren't getting provided. ERISA, HIPAA, OSHA, workers' compensation, all provided through these next step up, these labor unions, these journeyman labor unions. They were still matching employers to employees. That's what their primary function was. But they were also providing these fair labor standards type benefits to these people. Now, as they progressed, you needed to have some skill. You needed to be a plumber or an electrician or something. You needed to have some certification. What about the people that didn't have the certification, the less skilled workers? They were created, what sort of came up with these day labor companies, right? And they still exist. You can work today for a day labor company, which is you go to a hall at a certain time in the morning, and if there's anybody willing to hire you, you get hired that day. And if there's not, you don't. Still better than what they had before. They get paid through these companies. These companies function like unions, not the same, because they're for-profit companies. So they charge the employer more than they're paying to the employee. They're the middleman. But what do you do if you're not particularly skilled and you're not particularly allowed to be here? Then what do you do? Well, you can't go to one of these day labor companies because you need to be allowed to be hired. So in a way, what these companies have done is created a tiering system. The unions are the best, then the day labor companies, and then down the bottom, we have the day laborers. And if you want to know who the day laborers are, you can look at your order of service, because that is where the day laborers are. You've all seen them, the guys, almost all guys, right? Standing outside of Home Depot in the morning, hoping to be picked up by somebody to do something for the day. It functions a lot. You're going to laugh, but if you think about it, it functions a lot like prostitution, with labor substituted for the adult activities. Work today? Maybe. Get hurt today? Hope not. Get paid today? Hope so. No guarantee that the guy who picked me up to work on his deck's going to pay me after he drops me off. Nobody to complain to if he doesn't. Get home alive today? Hope so. Be deported today? Hope not. The U.S. is not unique. As I said before, day labor provides a significant labor force. What is unique in these United States is our own special flair, our own special spice that we've added to the risk of being a day laborer, and that is ICE. The sleazy businessman's best friend, ICE. Are your plant workers talking about a union? Call ICE. Why? Who gets in trouble if the plant is raided and 64 people are taken off to detention? Who gets in trouble in America? The employees that get arrested, or the employer who hired them? The employees. The employer, to get in trouble, it's ICE's duty to prove that the employer knew that they were hiring undocumented employees. Sure, that's going to happen. What is the actual effect of ICE? Making job sites safer? Oh, no. No. That's not a concern of this government. It's certainly not a concern of maybe even any prior government. Back to the 30s. Since 1925, I want to read you some statistics from 2025. Here are some statistics since 2025, and these are thanks to the National Day Laborer Organization Network. And this is the work that DSA is doing that's so important, because it's almost impossible to organize these people. The people that show up today might not be the people that show up tomorrow. The people that show up today have no influence over the other people that show up today. So it's very difficult to get to talk to them. And you can't go to every single Home Depot every single morning. And I'm not blaming Home Depot here. That's not, although you shouldn't go there. But for different reasons. Okay? So these people, this labor organization network, is trying to organize these people to help them protect themselves. ICE arrests in January to September, we have arrested, 9 months of this year, we've arrested more than 100,000 people. 100,000 people. If you do the math, that's 750 people per day. We are arresting 750 people per day, and that's a 100% increase over last year. Who says government isn't efficient? Arrests of people without criminal records is up 800%. It went from 800 people arrested without a criminal record in January to 7,800 in June. And 1 out of 5 Latinos arrested has no criminal record. And they include in criminal record a speeding ticket, any sort of criminal record. We live in a country, folks, where racial profiling is legal, as long as you call it criminal profiling. Change the word, make it legal. 450% more whites. And if you don't believe the whole racial profiling, 450%, there are 450% more whites in the United States than there are blacks. But blacks are more than twice as likely as whites to be shot by police. There's no need for statistics. I don't even need to go through all the statistics. You've all heard the term driving while black, right? Well, that exists, and nobody doubts it. Well, I'm not saying nobody doubts it, but most people don't doubt it. And have you heard, oh my God, have you heard the ICE ads on the radio? Have you heard the ads on the radio looking to hire people? And TV too, right? They say, join the mission. Keep your family safe. Keep your city safe. Help us catch the worst of the worst, drug traffickers, gang members, and predators. This is the ad on the radio to become an ICE member, an ICE official. And as if that wasn't enough, if your civic duty, such as it is phrased, is not enough, they are offering a $50,000 sign-on bonus to you if you're a police officer and would like to become an ICE agent. They're offering you a 6-figure salary, and on top of that, student loan forgiveness. Their goal is to hire 10,000 new agents before the end of the year. I didn't do the math, but 10,000 times 5, $50,000 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And as if that money is not enough, they're spending $6.5 million in the first 9 months of the year on paying for these ads to go on the television and the radio. And where do they get that money? They cut legal aid funding to immigration courts. Well, that ought to speed things up, right? Bunch of people coming through the system with no lawyer. Make it easier. 46% of unaccompanied minors went through their immigration hearing trials with no legal representation because there was none. That's where they got the money to hire the ICE people. So it's not fun to come here on a Sunday and stare at the underside of a nation that is decomposing in front of our own eyes. But not looking at it leaves us at tremendous risk. And it leaves others at tremendous risk. That's why I'm so glad that the Social Action Council has chosen to focus its efforts on democracy, food security, and immigration. Our UU values, listen to them, I'm going to say them slowly: pluralism, independence, generosity, justice, transformation, equity. They say in the newspapers and on TV, I've heard them say that we are a Christian nation. I don't know enough about Christianity to know if that's true or not, but I hope that we are not a Christian nation. I do know what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, and I can tell you that by all accounts, we are not a Unitarian Universalist nation. All we can do is what we can do. Arthur Ashe, the famous tennis player, said it beautifully. He said, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. And today, our DSA folks, our allies, are here with some very simple things you can do. I hope you can find it in your soul to go talk to them in between the coffee and the budget meeting. I know it's a bad day, but we had to hit while the iron was hot, and today was the iron was hot. I hope you can find it in your soul to go listen. They don't need much. They're making inroads into this community, and they need your help to keep that going, because you know for a fact that it's not going to get better anytime soon if we rely on the government. So I ask you, next time you drive past a Home Depot and see these guys out there hoping and praying to get picked up for work, hoping and praying to not get hurt at work, hoping and praying to get paid after their workday is done, hoping and praying to get home safe today, that you think about them in terms of our system and what our system is saying about them and what we are saying about them. I hope you can do that. I hope you can take a minute to make yourself aware of what is going on with these people. Talk to the DSA. I think they want toys. They don't want much. We can make inroads. Little teeny tiny First UUPB, Palm Beach, helped fix this in Palm Beach. Now, it's probably been unraveled since the last election, but it's okay. As long as it worked, we'll do it again next time when we have a minute. But we ask you to look inside yourself and ask yourself, this isn't a Christian nation, but what are we going to do to make it a Unitarian Universalist nation? Amen. Now I ask you to quickly change speeds and help us sing our closing hymn, which the hymns will be on your screen. So you all are very quiet, and it's a gloomy day, and I brought this gloomy message, and I try not to do that. I'm very sorry that today was gloomy and that the message was gloomy. Can we all just breathe for a second? Just it's a funny track you have to run being up here, because you need to bring important messages, but you don't want to dig everybody down. So I want to let you know that if this really got you down, go talk to the DSA. They're in the trenches already. They can help you bring yourself back out. Don't spend too long talking to them, though, because we're going to be here in the budget meeting. Or, you know what, come to the budget meeting on Thursday. Talk to them as long as you want. Zoom on Thursday. Our time together here is coming to a close. We've heard the words and the music. We've sung the words that bring us into community. Our time together is coming to our close, but our work is not. This faith is not an easy faith, and this world is not an easy world. There are no simple questions. There are no simple answers. But it is in the questions that we grow. It is in the questions that we find and hold the spark of the eternal life alive in all of us. I'd like to ask Marilyn to extinguish our chalice this morning. And while she does that, I will ask you to hear these final words today. May we, in the course of our week to come, keep love at the center of our lives and thoughts and actions. May our shared values of interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity guide our every decision. May we have the strength to do all of this and try to have some fun doing it. And may our lives be our best worship. Amen.